Welcome to the Big Picture Retirement Show, where you'll learn what it really takes to have a successful retirement. With over 20 years of experience, your host, Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has seen it all and is here to help you achieve your retirement dreams. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Welcome in to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Kelly. Glad you're with us today. Rick, of course, is a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has over 20 years of experience in the financial industry. And we're going to talk about the big picture blueprint, if you will. That's if you come in and sit down with the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, they're going to help you create a plan and a strategy for your retirement. Now, there are basically 5 pillars or 5 stars. Think of a 5-star resort, because that's how Rick rolls, right? You only go to the 5-star resorts, 5-star restaurants and the like, right, Rick?
Of course.
So when you picture a 5-star resort, I mean, you can see it, right? Lush greenery, the scenic views, top-notch customer service. And you compare that to the run-of-the-mill roadside motel, there's no comparison. So we're talking today about a 5-star retirement plan. And that's what the team at Safeguard can help you create. They're not going to do it all for you because they need your input, right? Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? How much income do you need? How's it all play out? They need to understand your lifestyle and your hopes and dreams for retirement. If you'd like to find out more about Rick and the team, you can always go to the website, safeguardinvestment.com, safeguardinvestment.com. But you can always give the team a call at 800-700-1980. No cost to chat with them, 800-700-1980. And after you hear about this big picture blueprint, you're like, wow, I don't have anything like that. I would like to learn more. You certainly have that opportunity. Just give them a call at 800-700-1980. So, Rick, if I was going to say 5-star resort, 5-star restaurant, 5-star golf course, and all that, we get a pretty good picture in our mind. What would be the 5 main pillars, maybe, of that big picture blueprint, that 5-star retirement plan?
You know, we got to start off with a foundation. And if we're going to talk about, 5-star pillars, I guess the main pillars or a pretty important part of the pillars is going to be, number one, making sure that we have a reliable income that we can count on. Also, a wealth management strategy, making sure there's tax efficiency strategy in there as well. Also, a plan to address healthcare. And then, of course, estate planning strategy as well would basically be like a foundational base we'd want to start from.
And so you think about it, income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning, basically. And then you go, well, what about Social Security? Well, it's in the income part. What about Medicare? It's in the healthcare part. And remember this, everybody's situation is unique. So there is no big picture blueprint for everybody. Each one is individually built for whomever the team at Safeguard is talking to. So let's kind of take those kind of in order. So does it start with income? Is that kind of where we start? We need to replace the paychecks that are no longer coming in, Rick, when we get to retirement. Does the big picture blueprint kind of start with income?
Yeah, for those, of course, that need it, you definitely want to start with income. And when we say income, a reliable income that is going to work for you under any economic environment, a reliable income that you can count on. And the point that I want to make is that we have strategies now where you can actually create, for lack of better terminology, your own private pension, where under any economic condition, you have this income guaranteed. But when I say your own private pension, since you're the one in control, it has more flexibility in the sense that, you can change the amount that you may need on a monthly basis, or maybe, you started at a certain point in time, but then you want to stop it and then restart it. Or if, there's money left over in it, you can pass on to the children. Unlike maybe like a traditional pension plan where you might get with an employer, and once you set it, it's etched in stone. Nothing can be changed. So for those that do need income, absolutely a reliable income plan.
So, yeah, absolutely. So when you're thinking about the income, Social Security, pension plans, creating your own pension, which Rick has just talked about, you could do that as well. I think a lot of people think, well, it's my 401k and IRA that are going to create my income. Well, that kind of gets more into the investment side, but there's no question. There's a lot of ways to generate income, a lot of different tools. Might be real estate, could be life insurance, all right? There's just a lot of tools that maybe a lot of people don't even understand that are the options that are out there.
Yeah, and just if I can interject really quick, I mean, we're getting more and more clients nowadays that are coming in, especially on the younger side, that when they sit down with us, they're like, Rick, you know what? When I'm doing my planning, I just want to pretend like Social Security is not even there. because they feel like they can't even rely on Social Security. So this is where, creating that income plan that no matter what, if they feel like, hey, whether Social Security is going to be around or not, they're covered. So, and everybody has different goals, different beliefs, and we got to create it around them.
Yeah, and really it doesn't start with the income plan. It starts really with the sit-down chat with the team because they need to learn about you, your hopes and dreams, your bucket list. You're going to need a new car. What about if the air conditioner goes out, the water heater goes out, you need a new roof? If you factored all those things in. So that's really where it starts. And then we put this blueprint together for you. If you'd like to learn more, it's 800-700-1980. But if you'd really like to get a better handle on retirement, if you will, Rick has set up an opportunity for you. All you have to do is text the word toolkit to 951-667-4969. Text the word toolkit to 951-667-4969. You're going to get some different retirement guides, taxes, Social Security, a lot of different topics that are covered there. You're also going to get the partner of Rick Rivera, Reed Ebonine, doing the webinar. They've taken their normal hour and a half presentation when they go in front of people and turn it into a half an hour webinar. So you kind of get a feel for the team at Safeguard by that. So text the word toolkit if you'd like those retirement guides, be able to watch that 30-minute webinar with Reed. All you have to do is text the word toolkit to 951-667-4969. I think this is a great question. So I'm looking forward to your answer, Rick. What's the difference between an income plan, which is kind of the first leg of those 5 pillars, and the second leg in those 5 pillars, which is a wealth management strategy? So what's the difference between an income plan and a wealth management strategy?
Well, the income plan, I would say, is one portion of a wealth management strategy. The wealth management strategy is more of looking at everything from a holistic approach. And whatever plan is developed for that person, whether it be income or whatever it is to create for that person in retirement, with the wealth management strategy, what we're doing is we're saying, okay, we're going to position you now to give you the best success going forward. But with the wealth management strategy, now we have to maintain this. We have to review it. We have to update it. And I was trying to, I guess for lack of a better terminology again, to give a reference that maybe people can understand is, let's say you buy a new car and it drives beautiful that first day, but as time goes on, if we don't, get regular oil changes and, change the tires and do these things, have regular maintenance done, it's not going to drive the same. You're going to notice like a decrease in performance. So it's the same thing when it comes to the wealth management strategy. Once we have a plan in place for you, as time goes on, tax laws change, economic environments change, your own situation may change, and this plan needs to adjust accordingly over time. So it's not only creating it, but it's also making sure that it can bob and weave as time goes on for you.
Yeah, the big picture blueprint, if you leave the office and you have a written retirement plan for the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, they're not going to say, good luck, I hope it all works out for you. No, this is a long-term relationship. They're here to guide you because the blueprint will need to adjust and change. It's got to be flexible because life happens. That's what Rick's talking about. Because some of the challenges are we think, okay, we're getting to retirement. Now we need to get out of the market and go all safe tools. That's not necessarily the case either, is it?
No, of course not. Again, it's all about having balance and design, because on the other side of the equation, there's people that have already won the comfortable retirement. And we notice that they're, heavily invested in the market and they're taking on a lot of risk. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves, hey, listen, if the market jumps up 30% tomorrow, yeah, it'd be great, but is that going to change your lifestyle? Are you going to go and sell your home and buy a mansion looking over the ocean? Or are you going to buy a new Ferrari? For most people, they're not going to, but if you lost 30%, could that have an effect on your lifestyle or just your psyche alone knowing you lost that much money? So yeah, some people can be too aggressive and it doesn't really add value. And I'm not saying we should run away from all risks, but what we need to do is evaluate the risk that you have, whether it's aggressive or conservative, and see if it makes sense for your situation. And we have the proper levels of both, to make sure we're enhancing, not taking away.
Because that's one of the big challenges, I would think, is risk versus safety when we get to retirement. We know that inflation is going to cause things to, double in price in 20, 24 years. So that means during our retirement, everything's going to double in price. So we need growth, but we also need safety because we need our money to last as long as we do, right?
Correct. Having that balance is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So because when you think about it, when you're putting together the big picture blueprint for clients, There's no one size fits all, is there?
Of course not. No.
How come they're not? You've been doing this for over 20 years. Why have you not created a silver bullet?
Mark, I wish it was that easy. It would make my job so much easier, but as we always talk about on the show, people have different desires, different objectives, some people are married, some people are single, some people have kids, some people don't, some people, it's just everything, every situation is different, so yeah, it has to be designed for that specific individual.
So again, if you'd like to learn more about retirement, you got some questions, you can always call the team, 800-700-1980, but you can also text the word toolkit to 951-667-4969. The retirement guides are included in this. You also get the ability to watch the 30-minute webinar that Reed Aberdeen put together, and it's basically taking their hour-and-a-half presentation when they do events and turn it into 30 minutes. So it'll keep your attention. You'll kind of get a better feel for the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, obviously. But the toolkit's going to give you some great information about retirement, maybe some things you don't realize. So it's a great opportunity to learn more. Text the word toolkit to 951-667-4969. We're talking about the big picture blueprint that Rick and the team at Safeguard create with you, not just for you, but with you, because your input is a big part of this. Might be options in the income part, options in the investment side, and they'll give you those options and say, here's what happens if you do this or do that. What do you think? That's how it kind of works. This is a team operation here is what it is at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. So income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning. We're talking about the rest when we come back. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. Back right after this.
You're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. For more information about Rick and the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group team, go to safeguardinvestment.com. While you're there, you can also download educational retirement guides and sign up for an upcoming seminar. That's safeguardinvestment.com. Now, back to the podcast.
Welcome back to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. You can always go to the website to learn more, safeguardinvestment.com, safeguardinvestment.com. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us today. If you have any questions, hey, you think I can retire, Rick? Well, when can I retire? Do I have enough? Will my loved ones be okay if something happens to me? At the end of the day, you just want to know, if we retire, will I or will we be okay? That's what we really want to know. Can we maintain our lifestyle and ride off into the sunset of retirement? Got some big hopes, big dreams. Well, call the team. That's what they do, create retirement plans for you. It's called the Big Picture Blueprint, but it's all about you. 800-700-1980 is the number, 800-700-1980. There's no cost for this. I don't know why you wouldn't take advantage of this 15, 30-minute phone call, because you're going to get some clarity about where you are. Instead of thinking, I think I'm going to be okay, I hope I'm going to be okay, I think I've done enough, why not find out? That's all you have to do is pick up the phone and call the team at Safeguard, 800-700-1980. So we're talking about that actual big picture blueprint. It's going to give you direction and clarity on your road to retirement. So it starts with income planning. Well, it really starts with learning about you and your hopes and dreams and your bucket list and all those things you've been looking forward to. How much income do you need? All that kind of stuff. Then it goes into actually putting the blueprint together. Starts with income planning. Then it goes to the investment planning side of things, risk versus growth and safety. How do we figure that out? That's a big question in today's world. But then we move into tax-efficient planning, healthcare, long-term care, legacy planning. Social Security, remember, is part of the income side of things. Medicare is a part of the healthcare side. So let's touch on taxes. This, to me, Rick, seems to be one of the bigger challenges for today's retirees, and I'm not sure they all understand that.
Here's where I think people's minds go when it comes to taxes or tax efficiency. They probably think, and a lot of times they're thinking write-offs and deductions. And they're like, well, I don't think there's anybody that can help me. And when we talk about tax efficient, we're talking a lot more than that. Outside of write-offs and deductions, what we're doing is we're saying, hey, where can we enhance in other areas, such as, hey, does it make sense for you to do Roth conversions or maybe not? Should you do them now or maybe later? Things like tax cost harvesting strategies in the investments. Sometimes, I can ask people, and actually the listeners that are listening to the show right now, I want them to ask themselves a question. Do you know what your cost basis is on your current investments? And there's a term called FIFO, which means first in, first out, versus then also HIFO, which means highest in, first out. There's different ways that you can actually set up the cost basis within your investments. So that way, as you're extracting dollars, you're minimizing the taxation on these things. Also, sometimes we'll look at people's investments and there's a lot of turnover going on within 1 year. And now because of just high turnover within the portfolio, they're paying short-term gains versus long-term gains, and, which are taxed at 30 to 50% more than long-term, and not to mention the extra fees and commissions on top of it. So there's just a lot more outside of just the standard, standard deductions and write-offs and things of that nature. We delve deep, and you'll be surprised how many people we see, and we're able to extract thousands of dollars in savings by looking at all these internal areas. So again, it's looking at that big picture all the way across the board.
And if you like that, boy, wouldn't you like to save money on taxes? You have to pay your taxes. Does it make sense to move money into the Roth world? Does it not? And it doesn't. No, there's no one scenario for everybody, right? That's how the team looks at it. Can they help you? Does it make sense? 800-700-1980 if you'd like to look into that, because that can be some huge savings down the road. If you can take care of maybe some of the taxes now, move all that into the Roth world, where when it grows, you're not paying any taxes on it anymore. You've already done it. 800-700-1980. I think that's a big difference. I think a lot of people like me, I don't work in the financial world, Rick. I would think that for me, it's, when I think tax efficient strategy, I'm thinking, well, that's when I do my taxes every year. That's nothing like you're talking about. That's tax preparation. This is some serious tax planning, right?
Yeah. And then, just on the investments alone, you'd be surprised how, it has a direct impact on the taxation on your Social Security and your pensions and all the rest of it. So it's just so important that we do things strategically tax-wise, because at the end of the day, so many advisors out there are so busy chasing return in the market that they actually lose sight of the things that they can actually control, to the point that they're reaching over the dollars to pick up the pennies. Because if we can save you 10 or 15% in taxes, how easy is it to make that same 10 or 15% in the market just by controlling the things that we can actually control? And that's what we're talking about.
800-700-1980. I would think I'd like to learn more about that. Give them a call at Safeguard Investment Advisor Group. No cost for this. They're here to help if they can. 800-700-1980. So the big picture blueprint: income, investment, taxes. The next level, pillar 4, if you will, would be healthcare, long-term care. This is one that we don't have as much. I think a lot of people don't think we have control over taxes. We don't control the rates and the brackets and all that, but we do control kind of when and how we pay those taxes. Healthcare, how do you look at that?
Well, I got to tell you, healthcare is huge, because especially for those people that are actually planning on retiring prior to 65, I can't tell you how many people that we'll meet for the first time, and they'll literally tell us, Rick, Reed, Eddie, I'm actually putting off retirement until I turn 65 because I can't afford healthcare. So healthcare is a huge part of someone actually planning for retirement prior to 65. Of course, after 65 as well. And that's where, long-term care and all the rest of it comes in. But the advantage, that we have is we have people that we work with that specialize in healthcare. So when we're putting plans together for our clients, we can bring in these professionals to determine, hey, if you truly want to retire, hey, what are these costs going to be? Here's what you can expect, and here's how we can actually maneuver. So maybe you can retire a little earlier, and vice versa. When on the opposite side of the coin, once you're over 65, we can also say, here's some strategy. I know that when it comes to long-term care can be very expensive. Traditional long-term care insurance, but we certainly can show you different ways to attack the same problem. So one, long-term care insurance is one way to go, but there's other strategies that we talk about in our workshops that you can use as well, just depending upon your situation.
Do you find that a lot of people think once they get to Medicare age of 65 that they don't really have to worry about this as much? And that may not be the truth, because Medicare doesn't cover long-term care.
Well, it does. Yeah. Health insurance doesn't cover long-term care. So it's a factor for many people because they don't want to be a burden on the kids. They probably dealt with this with their own parents. And after dealing with it, with their own parents, they're like, hey, listen, you know what? I don't want to put my kids through that. And, and most people, let's face it, they want, if they do need that type of care, they want to be able to stay at home and have a quality of life at home. So there's strategies that can be put into place that if you do need that care, why not stay at home and get the care at home where you're going to be happier and have a little bit better quality of life?
So the big picture blueprint, again, income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning. We're going to touch on the legacy and estate planning in just a second, but that's what the toolkit is about. all these different areas. Text the word toolkit to 951-667-4969. There's no cost for this, and you just get the information, including the opportunity to watch Reed Aberdeen do the 30-minute webinar right there as well. You get the access to that, which kind of gives you a better insight, I think, to what the team at Safeguard can do, as well as listening to Rick every week on this radio program. Just text the word toolkit to get the retirement guides and the webinar, 951-667-4969. Just an opportunity for you to do some of your own due diligence, if you will. 951-667-4969. So that final pillar, it would be the estate planning side of things. There are certain things we have to have done, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to estate planning, this is really more about, making sure your legal documents and everything else are set up, such as your trust, your wills, your power of attorneys. And, especially if, those people that might have a special needs situation with a grandchild, a family member, there are strategies that can be employed to help maximize what you're going to leave to the kids, if that's something that's important to you. But one of the things that I want to stress for people that I think is more important than having, I shouldn't say more important than trust and wills, but for us while we're alive, because the trust and wills, that protects the kids. It does nothing for you. That comes into play after we're gone. But while we're alive, we need that power of attorney for healthcare. We need that power of attorney for asset management, because if we're sick, we're in the hospital, we need somebody to handle our financial affairs or make medical decisions for us. That protects us while we're alive. And those are critical documents to have. The trust and wills, of course, are important, but that does nothing for you while you're alive. That's just more for the family and the kids and everybody else.
Rick, what do you think about this theory? If you hate your family, do no legacy and estate planning. But if you love your family, do it. How about that?
Yeah, I like that.
Because if you leave a headache behind, they're not going to be very happy with you. And the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, it's all part of the big picture blueprint, right? Income, you got to replace the paychecks no longer coming in. Investments, how do we kind of handle that risk versus safety? Is it a blending of the market world and the insurance world? Because Safeguard can help you in both of those areas, but they don't know until they sit down with you. Then it's tax efficiency. We know taxes are going up in 2026. That's when the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act went into play. It ends at the end of 2025. So how do we move some money into the Roth world? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Healthcare, legacy planning, all of that is a part of the big picture blueprint. Call Rick and the team at Safeguard. Julie's going to answer the phone. Say, what can I help you with? Hey, I'd love to sit down with Rick. If he got time to work me in, I'd love to talk with him about this big picture blueprint. I would love to have that for my own retirement. 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980, no cost. Rick, enjoyed it. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you so much, Mark. You have a great day.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC. This radio show is a paid placement.